Kia ora, I'm Sharon Brett-Kelly. Today on The Detail, the world's biggest online seller that's turned shopping into a game.
It's called Temu. It's being advertised like crazy with incredible prices.
These apps are growing so popular that they're quite literally almost changing the way that Americans buy clothes.
It's got everything from clothes to housing goods to pet supplies, and it's all super cheap.
Its products are cheap, dirt cheap, too good to be true cheap.
The prices blow my mind. I feel so rich. I feel like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire.
Temu's slogan, Shop Like a Billionaire, is because you can find dupes of luxury products for just a couple of dollars.
So how does it keep its prices at rock bottom? Well, there are claims of slave labour, allegations it makes money by selling customers' information, and on top of that, accusations that it is a cybersecurity threat to shoppers.
We found the presence of self-compiling software. What this essentially means is that they can install any program on your phone once you download the Temu app, and consequently, they can access your credit card records. If you have a banking app on your phone, they can access your bank records. They can read all the text messages you ever sent. This is extremely concerning in our opinion.
But is Temu any worse than the other online giants like Amazon? Let's untangle this with Victoria Young, investigations editor at Business Desk and self-confessed Temu user. Right, so the business, Temu. Yeah. God, the more I looked at it, the more I just thought, wow, this is, it's like it's taking the whole online shopping thing to a new level, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like AliExpress on steroids. It is hardcore.
That's a good AliExpress, are you talking about Alibaba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do use in our household. We had been using AliExpress. My partner still sort of uses it, but now I've used Temu a couple of times, and it is
right.
Intense. Yeah.
And knowing what you know about Temu, are you comfortable with that, Victoria? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I am actually, because I think spam and like that third-party data stuff, that kind of is everywhere. I don't know, maybe I've accepted it a bit. That, you know, that's how it works. You give them, well, they give you great deals. You give them a bit of data. I mean, it's unclear how they use it. I guess we'll get into that. But, you know, I've used it a couple of times and I liked what I got. So,
okay, you didn't have to return it, didn't arrive broken?
No, I'm not complaining at all from a consumer point of view. And, you know, it's stuff like baby goods, nappy holders, wipes holders, pegs for your pram, that sort of thing. You can get, it's half the price of Kmart. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, okay, well, we'll get more into that. But who owns Temu? Where has it come from?
Yeah, it's so fascinating. So it is a Chinese company, right? It's parented by PDD Holdings, which is listed on the NASDAQ exchange. So obviously it can be publicly traded. It was based in Shanghai, but it's now relocated to Dublin, which is likely to be a tax move. What we do know is it's founded by this billionaire, Colin Huang. There's not much that's more that we would know about that.
So he started it less than 2 years ago. And the actual model of it, how does it differ from those other big online retailers?
Well, what they talk about a lot in their model is the cutting out of the middleman. So what it's doing is it's got all its suppliers from various parts of presumably China. We don't really know. And it's sort of collating the order and bringing it to the customer to drop the middleman. So that's what they say is their advantage and the why of why they can make it so cheap. But the other aspect to the model, I guess, would be the way that it markets itself, which is, you know, way more intense than, you know, your AliExpress or your Shine. Although Shine, you know, I guess Shine and Temu are similar in the way that they use influencers. But the Temu model of the it's sort of been described as a pyramid selling scheme, the referral network. That is the thing that is really quite different and quite aggressive, and probably for Kiwi consumers like whoa. I mean, it was whoa for me.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, and just before we go on about that, because I do want to look at that, when you talk about shine, I thought it was pronounced Shein, but people seem to be giving it
I'm not
different
sure.
names.
I'm not sure.
But that is another big online fast fashion retailer that seems to be gripping people as well. But back to the way Temu operates. Can you explain to me, like, when you log on, what happens?
I encountered it through a girlfriend of mine. She posted in a group chat and she said, I wrote it down. Can you accept my invitation so I can get a free gift? And of course, we're all sitting there and like, yeah, okay, click on there. And it's a really interesting experience. So once you click on it, I'm not sure if I downloaded the app previously, but I managed to get into the website. I got in there and then all of a sudden it just says to you, what would your 10 free gifts like to be? And there's like the whole marketplace is full of things. I mean, I picked a massage gun, some toys, that sort of thing. So you start picking and you've got to go through them all and you've got to pick 10 and that kind of takes ages. So once you click that, it goes, hooray, and then the wheel starts spinning. And then you tap the wheel and then it says, hooray, you've won free shipping. And then you keep going and then it says, hooray, you've won this. And then, 10% more off. And then you go, okay, so keep going. And, I'm kind of like, I can't remember where I was in the house, but I was sort of like doing this and doing several things at the same time. And I just keep coming back. And it took me ages. And then eventually you get through, they have these cards that turn. You like playing an online casino, and you pick a card and it turns over and you win another something. Eventually, you get through and it says, okay, now to really get your 10 gifts, share this with a friend. You've got to get your friends to click through and sign up also. And then once you've done that, I'm not sure how many times, to be honest, because I gave up after 4 or 5 times. Some of my friends were really not interested in this. But of course, the big one that a lot of people talk about is the Super Bowl.
Download the Temu app and shop like a billionaire.
They're huge at the Super Bowl. They'll be huge at the Super Bowl this year, and that's obviously the American event that everyone watches. Here, they were all over the Rugby World Cup.
Temu has become a trend of its own online, with influencers and YouTubers using the platform to buy and promote ridiculous products for ridiculous prices.
How do they use influencers?
So I'm pretty sure it's the same sort of model. Like the Shine model is really intense. Like they basically, get them on there and they just show like 10 things that they've bought that day.
Is that when they talk about the haul? Look at my Temu haul.
Yeah.
This is one of my biggest hauls. Let's start with the small things. First, I got this wave ring. It is so cute. Like, look at that. Next, I got these smiley earrings.
Too good. Here we are again. Temu haul. I got some stuff for homeschooling. Portable microscope. I thought that was super cool. Accidentally ordered 2 of these. I
also got sandals. They're like this super comfy rubbery material. I love a good pair of cargo pants. Look how fun. The perfect length, and I love the square butt pocket.
I do have an exclusive coupon code. It's EVER, EVER 225. I'll see you guys in the next try on haul.
They're treating it like a game.
Yeah, that's right, Sharon. I think you could see it as like the gamification. And I guess once you've got it downloaded, then, that's when they get you. And the other thing is the follow-up. So, I mean, I bet now after we've had this conversation, I'll get pinged on my app as well. But I'm getting notifications all the time about stuff I've looked at, that you missed this in your basket, the emails, and I would say, like you go online and you may put something in your box, in your basket, yeah, and then you might get one email the day after saying, oh, did you forget to buy something? I think I've had that from New Zealand retailers. Temu, you get back maybe 3.
What is this doing to the whole retail scene? Because it's hooking people in, isn't it? It's successfully hooking people in.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if you look at, I wouldn't say the Warehouse is very good at it, but I would say Kmart, which is, owned by Wesfarmers in Australia, they do it with the influencers. They don't do, the aggressive, they don't do anything near the pyramid marketing scheme, the referral scheme or things like that. But, the use of influencers is pretty commonplace. I would say then the Kiwi retailers, I mean, it's really, that sort of category, we're quite limited. You've got bricks and mortar with your $2 shops, that kind of thing, Kmart and the Warehouse. And the Warehouse, you look at the way that their online is performing. I mean, they're trying to make inroads, but the one thing that they, try and stand on is trust. They say through their online marketplace, you know where it's coming from. You'll be able to get your refund. You'll be able to complain if it, arrives broken or whatever.
Let's look at some of the issues that have been raised. I mean, US Congress is investigating them for unethical practices. And what we're talking about here is there are claims that they are using slave labour, that they're using Uyghur people in big factories.
It's becoming more and more clear that they are reliant on forced labor to make their products.
Members of the Muslim minority Uyghur population, often forced into prison and labor camps, produce the very goods that enter the U.S. through the apps.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, my team, we've been looking at the modern slavery issue for a while now because, from a business point of view, all of, the warehouse will produce a sustainability report that includes modern slavery, and it will have tick boxes and it will say, we did this, this and this. And we have actually talked to them quite a lot about how they monitor their supply chain because they're involved in a solar panel farm which has the same sort of allegations around Uyghur and slave labour use for the materials that make up the solar panel that are shipped to New Zealand. So, this is an issue for New Zealand consumers, but it's not. When it comes to modern slavery in New Zealand, the legislation's been drafted, it hasn't even been introduced yet. So if it's not even a legal issue here yet, I would say the consumer has a lot of time to catch up with worrying about those allegations.
What about the allegations that it is mining people's data? I've seen some stories where they say it is making money from selling people's data, other stories where actually the company has said we are sharing the data but we're not selling it.
Temu says it doesn't sell users' personal information, but it does share your information with a number of entities, like payment processors, advertising partners, and third parties that may be involved in promotions and marketing.
I hopped onto my Temu account and looked at what they tell you, the consumer, about their privacy policy. I mean, there are some basics that we know they use. Okay, so they obviously know your address, they know where you live, they know your preferences, and that's all about creating, they say, a good customer experience, right? I was quite surprised how specific they are about how they talk to third parties in terms of what I would describe as partnerships. So they say, yes, we use a shipper. We give the shipper your data. We do use, they call it interest-based advertising, and third-party advertising partners may collect your personal interest. But we are following self-regulatory principles for online behavioural advertising. So even when you tick the online box that says, I understand the terms and conditions, most people understand that the consumer is not really reading the terms and conditions. So that's sort of like the knowledge gap. We don't know who Temu is selling to, if it is. Reports have said, I logged onto Temu and then all of a sudden I'm getting spam calls and spam texts. I don't know. I mean, I figure I'm a journalist. My number's probably out in lots of places, so I can't really tell.
Earlier you were saying that even by talking about this, doing this interview, that you'll start getting spam from Temu.
Yeah, I think.
So they're listening in? How does that work?
I'm not sure how that works with Google, but I mean, a lot. I can never tell, right? Because say I'm talking to my friend about something and then did I Google it after or did I not Google it after? Do you know what I mean? Like there are cookies. What I do think is interesting, though, however, in terms of Kiwi retailers, I actually did a sort of check with the warehouse last year where I asked for all my personal data and they actually mucked it up a bit and they gave me like all of the other Victoria Youngs. Including the one that's the producer here. So it's not a great example of how Kiwi companies are looking after data because they're not. And that's not even to a third party, that's to me. What they're very clear on, the warehouse, is that they do not sell to third parties.
In terms of New Zealand regulations or any kind of scrutiny, it's not breaking any laws, is it?
No, I don't. I was looking for like just a little trace of what it has in New Zealand. You know, it's got no physical base, it's got no executives, it doesn't have a registered company. It is registered intellectual property here, so it's registered the Temu logo. Had a look at that, but that was done by lawyers in Australia, so there's not a lot here. I mean, according to my invoices, it's paying GST. Yeah.
Are you going to keep shopping with them?
Oh, I think I will, yeah. I see no reason to stop so far.
The other question is about the waste mountain, that they're contributing to the huge piles of rubbish.
Yeah, that one I don't feel great about. Is that enough to change my behaviour? Maybe not.
The environmental impact of the online shopping giants is well documented. Take fast fashion.
It's beyond comprehension. You know, it's just mind-boggling. We've been taught that fashion's not important. It's a bit of fluff. It's this kind of frivolous industry. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is disguising how impactful it can be.
That's Victoria University's Jennifer Whitty talking to TVNZ Sunday. She says the Temu-like company Shein made 49 billion garments in 2022. That's much, much more than the 3 billion produced by another big retailer, H&M.
10% of global carbon emissions are attributed to the fashion industry.
But the numbers just keep growing. Within a year of its launch in September 2022, Temu had more than 40 million downloads per month, more than even Amazon. It is now the #1 app by downloads worldwide. It launched in New Zealand and Australia last April, and after 2 months, the Oz site had 9.2 million users.
And the latest e-commerce company topping the charts is called Temu.
Yeah, I feel like it's a shopping experience for like the cutting edge, man. It's like it's feeding you dopamine from day dot. You're spinning wheels, you're seeing a timer.
It's intense, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super intense.
I'm like, all right, I'll buy within 8 seconds.
Someone who's resisting Temu's temptations is Kate Hall, known to her thousands of Instagram followers as Ethically Kate. She's on a roadshow right now taking her positive message of living sustainably around the country. And she's making a difference, but measured against the impact of a giant like Temu.
Even when you just open the Temu page and you can see, 100,000 solar-powered firework lights have been sold, and it's, counting down saying, low stock alert, buy this, that type of thing. It really, really plays on our human behavior of not wanting to be left out and wanting to get something that, it's a scarce commodity. Just the way they sell, they do sell some, reusable cups and sustainable gadgets that would help you reduce waste, but the way they sell everything is just in itself completely and utterly unsustainable. Though I have heard Temu talk about sustainability before, ironically.
Oh, they have?
Yeah, they like to talk about how they offset the carbon impact of each kind of purchase. And it's just a load of rubbish in my opinion, and we can't offset our way out of a climate crisis, and it just doesn't stack up. But they're trying on from all angles to get every single person, no matter what they care about, to purchase their products.
What's coming up behind Temu? What is next? I mean, I was so late to the game on this one. I didn't even know it existed until a couple of weeks ago. But can you see what other big consumer online giants are coming through?
So the speed of items and increasing getting items to someone's door will be like a really big focus for these big giants, because we all want products and we want them right now. So that will probably be a big theme that we'll see a lot of companies really trying to test the postal systems and do things like the express shipping and stuff like that. They'll just continue to play on our human thirst for turning our money into commodities, into like pointless gadgets.
Instantly.
It's that instant thing, right? We even see on social media people, only watch videos that are a few seconds long. Yeah, it's the instant, it's the quick, it's the feeling good and powerful because you've got 5 Nick fans. I think we'll see these big giants continue to just really, really play on their marketing and also kind of turn shopping into more of a game. I feel like that's what Temu plays on, like when you're on their site and it's saying, 72% off, 100,000 have been sold and there's only a few left. It's moving as well, like their website, things are popping up, and it kind of feels like it's a game, like you've got to get this, to get to the next level. So I think we'll see more kind of themes of that type of shopping, which makes me sick to even think about. But yeah, it's even sometimes I see sustainable companies who create amazing sustainable products, but they send their customers an email every day.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's sustainable. That's, when we're thinking about sustainability, we're not just talking about the environment. We're talking about your marketing tactics and how you're selling something and kind of the scheme of your production. A lot of sustainable companies only make to order, which is brilliant. But yeah, when a company emails you every day with things, again, they're trying to play to your thirst for new stuff. And I just think that's completely unhelpful. But we're seeing more and more of that just constant, buy this, buy this, buy this. And it wears you down.
The Detail is supported by RNZ and NZ On Air. This episode was engineered by Jeremy Ansell and produced by Alexia Russell and Davina Zimmer. And thanks to Victoria Young and Kate Hall. I'm Sharon Brett Kelly, mā te wā.
And what's your following on Instagram? How big is it?
I think it's 45,000 at the moment.
Wow, that's decent.
Yeah, and they're a really, really engaged group. Really, I love my online community. They talk a lot. They send me thousands of messages each month, and yeah, are really, really focused on making change, which that brings me hope too. I get messages every day from people saying, oh, I fixed my ripped bed sheets instead of buying new ones, and my daughter picked up hair ties from the ground that she found and washed them and used them instead of buying new ones. So I feel very, very lucky to be able to hear all of those positive stories, and I try to share them as much as possible too, so that people know that there are amazing, amazing communities and people all across the country who are actually making change, and definitely not on Temu websites.